Hello and welcome to another episode of DH Newsroom. This is your host Aditya Hagar. I'm working with the sports team as principal correspondent. With me today are two of my trusted colleagues. Welcome Sydney Kiran, he's the deputy editor of the sports team and one of the youngest journalists whom I really trust when it comes to his cricket knowledge, Dinesh Bhardwaj. Welcome them all. We'll start, today on our agenda is Syed Mushtaq Ali Trophy, which is the heartbeat of T20 cricket in the country. I'll quickly throw my question first to Sydney. Want to understand what is the importance of a tournament like Smash?
Hi Aditya, hi Vignesh. Hope you guys are doing good.
All well,
Like
all
you
well.
just, oh well, yeah, like you just said, Aditya. Now this is actually the premier T20 competition, right? While all the eyeballs will be on the IPL because of all the foreign players involved, because of all the money and all the razzmatazz. But Syed Mushtaq Ali holds a very important place in the Indian domestic calendar, and that is why you always see that Mushtaq Ali is always situated just before the IPL auction. That's where the talent scouts go ahead and see which are the players that can fit into their piece of the puzzle. So the IPL auctions is scheduled next month in Abu Dhabi, December 16th, if I'm not wrong. So in that context, this is a very important side, Mushtaq Ali, because firstly, on two accounts. Now, one, there are about 77 players who will be up for auctions next month, out of which I think 30 slots of foreigners, or 30 or 31. So that roughly gives about 45 Indian players a chance to, be a part of the franchisees. And in this, there are a couple of franchises with heavy purse strings like KKR and CSK. So obviously they'll be looking at some key players that they really want to fit into their team. So in that context, it's very important. So for example, now there is a player like Venkatesh Iyer. He did really well with KKR. He won the IPL with KKR. He was touted as one of the next big all-rounders for India. He got into the Indian side, but then things really didn't go well for him, and he was released by KKR as well. Now, if he's able to go ahead and give a very good performance in this side, Mushtaq Ali, then there's always a chance that you could go for a higher price sum uh, at the upcoming auctions. Similarly, there are a lot of other players also, young players. For example, say take Karnataka. Like there's a very talented player called Neil Norona, who's been doing really well in the state sides, in the state tournaments. He did well in the Maharaja Cup as well, which is a RT20 league. So if he's able to get a good performance here, you never know. He could be one of the surprise picks by the respective franchisees. So that is one aspect. Another aspect why this is important is now the T20 World Cup is next year. And ahead of that, we have two bilateral series scheduled in India, five against South Africa and then five against New Zealand. Now, there are for few players, this is important. One of them is like, say, Hardik Pandya. Now, Pandya has had another injury. I don't know how many injuries Pandya is going to have in his career. Half the time, I think every tournament that he plays, he plays, then half the time he ends up spending in BCCI COE. So now he's back. He's back for Baroda. So he really wants to get into the scheme of things. He would want to go and prove his fitness. And so this is a big tournament for him. Similarly, India's T20 skipper, who'd have thought, this is going to be a big tournament for Surya Kumar Yadav because in the last 1 year, he really hasn't had a really great performance with the Indian team. His spot has come up for question, people, and also now with Shubman Gill breathing down his neck as a vice captain. So, of course, he's very much in the scheme of things until the T20 World Cup. But given that his form has not been great, this is a good way for him to get his juices flowing, get the runs back before the South Africa and the New Zealand series starts. So in these two contexts, it's very important.
I'll take the next question to the other panelist, Vignesh. You have covered a lot of domestic cricket this season. Want to understand where Karnataka team stands in terms of what they can achieve this season, and also what is the prospect as far as IPL mini auction is concerned?
Yeah, so in this Indian domestic circuit, momentum is the buzzword. So with the two white ball tournaments, the Syed Mushtaq Ali as well as the Vijay Hazare, that has been sandwiched between two phases of the Ranji Trophy. I think teams will look to carry their momentum forward if they're in a good run. If not, they'll try to regain it. So I think Karnataka, I think they've had a brilliant start. They're topping the table in their group with 21 points in 5 games. So I think that's been a brilliant start for Karnataka this season. I think coming into as the caravan shifts to the T20 side of things, I think they'll go into this group with a lot of confidence. But again, this is a very tricky group. They have, again, despite Tamil Nadu struggling in the red ball format, I think they are still a good white ball side. So I think it's a tricky group here with Karnataka. They played Delhi, Rajasthan, among others. So it's with respect to Karnataka, I think it's a tricky group. With 32 teams in the elite category, 8 teams are basically divided into 4 groups. So among those 4, only top 2 qualify for the Super League. So even if you probably lose a game or two here and there, net run rate and things come into play. So I think Karnataka will have to be, at their very best to first qualify to the Super League and then take it on from there. Coming to the side perspective, the squad side of things, I think they have a very good squad. They have all bases covered they have good pacers, experienced pacers. Karnataka at times recently lacked from in their spin department, but I think the emergence of Shikhar Shetty has given a bit confidence, and Shreyas Gopal, as always, he's been delivering. Now they also have Praveen Dubey, that's another leg spinner, so they're bringing in 2 leg spinners into the squad with one left arm orthodox in Shikhar Shetty. I think the fast bowling bases are of course covered with the experienced guys in Vidwat and Vaishak. So I think the Karnataka as a whole, they look good on paper, of course, but again, performances will need to, the performance will need to come on the pitch. Again, Agarwal, I think this is a very big tournament for Agarwal. So him being unsold and then picked in place of Devdutt Padikkal, who was injured just before the playoffs, but was again not trusted going into the next season. I think him opening the batting in the power play, I think his aggressive nature, if he brings that to the foray, I think an Indian opener is as important as a Indian fast bowler in the mini auction, because you don't get a lot of Indian openers in the mini auction. So I think with respect to that, Agarwal will have a good chance to prove himself. Other than that, I think Smaran, he's scored 2 double hundreds already. Karun walks into the side now after a few domestic seasons away. So I think Karnataka as a whole look good on paper. And again, coming to the performances, I think they start the tournament against Uttarakhand. It's I think with them carrying the momentum from red ball cricket, I think expectedly they should qualify for the next stage. But again, it's a funny game.
That's quite correctly
It's always a funny game.
Cricket, yeah, cricket is always
Especially T20. You don't know
game.
what's going to happen in
T20.
T20. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's looking funnier with how our Indian team is performing at the moment. Taking
Oh,
cue
yeah,
from
that's a
the
different
Indian
topic to
Yeah.
discuss, I guess.
team. So, I mean, like if we look at the rest of the country, there is so much talent. There is, especially when it comes to the T20 format. Uh, I want to understand from Sydney, overall, what is the prospect? What kind of players we can look for in order to understand who can make it big at the mini auction. Are there any surprises that are waiting?
Yeah, definitely. See, the thing is now two franchises, CSK and KKR, they have the biggest price purse. And yeah, so KK had about 64.3 crores and CSK have 43 crores. So these are the two teams, and these are the two teams, one of the most successful teams. CSK have 5 titles, KKR have 3 titles, but obviously the last seasons have not gone really well for them. Then you have about 3 franchises, SRH, LSG, and DC, about 20 crores each. So definitely these 5 franchises are the ones who will be looking to go ahead and pick some players. So definitely there are some guys who will be looking to make an impression, like I was saying about Venkatesh Iyer in the very beginning. If I'm not wrong, I think a year before last he went for about 21 crores, right? If I'm
Yeah.
not wrong.
23.
20,
23 crores,
23.75.
yeah, 23.75. So now imagine if you go for 23, 23 is generally considered the very, very big league. And now from there to now being released by a franchisee is, you can say, a sort of a fall from grace, and for no fault of his, obviously, because T20 is quite, finicky format. And generally, KKR is this is a kind of franchisee that sort of picks young talents, trusts in them, and stays with them. But things have gone. So I think here with Madhya Pradesh, he's going to be a very, very important player. He'll be out there to go and make a big impression and show the franchisees that he still has got it. I mean, mind you, he's a very super batsman. He can bat at the top of the order. He can probably bat even in the middle order. And he's a decent enough medium pacer. Of course, with the impact player, now this whole uh, all-rounder value has come down because they're generally now preferred for one particular skill set. But even then, in batting, he can really clear the ropes. He's a tall player, so he's one of them. Now, there's another player who would want to really make an impression, Prithvi Shaw, because things have gone really bad for him. He's now part of Maharashtra. He's really come out of the national scheme of reckoning. But here and there, he's shown his, traces of brilliances so that he can really go ahead and, smack oppositions out and really score these big ones. So he'll be looking to go ahead and make an impression, show that he's got the discipline, he's got the commitment, he's can go ahead and take the next big step. Then I was talking about the two Karnataka players. One for Mayank, it's going to be very, very important, like even Vignesh pointed out, because he's too good a player not to be sitting out of the franchisee. Because he came in as a last-minute replacement in the playoffs into the RCB side, and in the 2-3 matches that he got, he did really well as well, and he was part of RCB's maiden IPL title. Now, initially, it looked like Mayank could stay in the squad, but for whatever reasons, RCB chose to release him. So now he's another good top order batsman who franchise is really quite interested in. Apart from even the auctions, it is very important for some players like, say, someone like a Riyan Parag, because now Sanju Samson has moved away from Rajasthan Royals to CSK. Now, RR have invested heavily in Riyan, and he's been looked as some sort of a captaincy prospect. So if he's able to do some magic with Assam, that could really enhance his credentials in terms of the franchisee promoting him to a captaincy material. So there's a lot at play here at this Mushtaq Ali.
I'll take a detour from want to
Yeah.
understand somebody like you mentioned Prithvi Shaw is again making noises, right kind of noises. Do you
Mhm.
believe he has made his way and there won't be that blanket ban that was imposed on him when all the franchises ignored him last season? Will that happen again? Do you fear that?
See, it's very difficult to answer that, Aditya, because you know what they always say in Indian cricket. Apart from, see, there's a heck a lot of guys with a lot of talent. Indian cricket is loaded with talent. You have a lot of people, fighting for spots. You take the national team itself for an opening slot. There are about 7, 8 top level competitors. For the middle order, the same thing. Even for the spinning slot. So there is always a surplus of talent, but apart from all this, what franchisees, what teams look out for is discipline. And there are a lot of stories that have been told as to why he has gone out of the Indian team, which I don't want to, divulge. It's pretty much this one. But his indisciplinary actions has all been out in the open. So now the problem is now franchisee, you don't want to touch a player who's got a very bad track record in terms of discipline, because they're there only for 2 months. They want high performing units. They want guys who can come and do the job and get away with it. It's not like a school or a college where you can manage. And unless you're exceptionally talented, but even if you're exceptionally talented globally also, there is always options. Yeah. So now the problem here is now once you got a bad track record, it's very difficult for you to go ahead and change because you know how human mind is psychology, right? It's all about perception. If all the others start forming a perception about you, like, okay, they all feel, okay, this is the problem with Prithvi. This is or say, for example, a player A, if they feel that this player A and has a drinking problem, or if this player A has, can't be a team player, or if this player is not able to listen to the team orders, then very quickly they will let them go, and then the word spreads around. Then automatically even the others might not touch him at this one. So the road back is quite going to be very long for him. But if he's able to, in with the Maharashtra side, if he's able to go out and convey the message, yeah, ease on them, and because obviously everybody, no human being is the same. Everyone makes mistakes. It's all about how you can learn from those mistakes, how you can correct those mistakes, and how you can come back. So, and there are people who have gone astray and come back and made a bigger impact. So he's really good, a talent. If he can find his ways, if he can mend his ways, he can get his act back together. And if he can prove it with Maharashtra, then you never know. There's always a way back for him because he's quite young. If I'm not wrong, about 24, 25.
We'll wish him luck for that.
Yeah.
At least I hope a talented player like him comes back in the mix.
Yeah.
We'll wrap up quickly as we are already running short on time. Want to understand from Vignesh, what does Matt means for the next year's T20 World Cup? Can we, is the Indian team already ready, or do we still need a fresh talent coming out of the domestic system?
Yeah, so with respect to the Indian side and Gambhir as a coach, you just never know, when you pick player A or player B, he comes out with player C. So,
Yeah.
but I think the Indian team picks itself for the T20 World Cup. Not many slots are available or up for grabs. With this new nature, with Gambhir coming in, that he's got this liking towards all-rounders. I think with Washington Sundar, with Hardik, with Aksar, I think India team is pretty much set, and with fast bowlers taking their slots with Bumrah and etc. And I think Kuldeep will play the leg spinners role. I think even the top order, there's not much change, but again, you just never know unless and until there's a last minute injury or things to with India still playing a few games before the T20 World Cup. I think, yeah, if not for a major injury, I think we got at least 12, 13 set with two players. You just never know. Yeah. I think with respect to the T20 World Cup, it's not going to mean much. But again, with a personal point of view with the players, I think there is a lot to prove.
Yeah, like Vignesh was talking about. No, Vignesh was talking about Gambhir's preference for players with all-round skills. What I fear is hopefully Bumrah doesn't get dropped because he's only a specialist bowler. That's my biggest worry and biggest fear. Or say someone like a Shubman Gill eventually gets dropped because no, I'm just joking, obviously, but no, I think that's a topic for a different. I think that is where India probably will need to change its tactics sometimes and value specialists, because sometimes specialists are of really big importance, like Anil Kumble was pointing out the other day.
But again, India, I think for the T20 World Cup, they like to bat deep, they like to bat till late. I think it's pretty much set.
Yeah.
Okay. I mean, this was a really riveting conversation for me. I got to understand a lot about Syed Mushtaq Ali Trophy. I hope our viewers will understand the same. You watch the upcoming season with a lot of interest. This is Aditya Haldar signing out with the rest of the panelists. Really, I'd like to thank Sydney and Vignesh for joining us for the show. Thanks a lot.
Thank you, Aditya. Thank you, Vignesh.
Thank you, guys. Thank you so much.
Yeah.